I'm tasting the 2018 vintage of the Smith-Madrone Riesling from Spring Mountain AVA in Napa Valley. This was associated with the podcast episode about how to assess wine like the pros. And on this episode, we're joined by my great friend and colleague, Sir Lucero. Sir is a master sommelier. I'm a master of wine. Those are actually two different, distinct programs, which people may not know. So if you'd like to take a listen, we definitely talk about what's similar, what's different, but we also talk with Amanda McCrossan about how we each assess a wine. And when I mean that, there are certainly plenty of bottles that I have opened and enjoyed with Sir where we didn't really spend too much time professionally assessing them. But of course, when we are tasting wine as wine professionals to offer through Wine Access, or when we were studying to pass our respective exams, you have to learn to take your personal preferences out of the equation and just sort of look a little bit almost clinically or scientifically at the wine and learn how to break it down, especially if you're doing something like blind tasting, which we both had to do to achieve our certifications. To almost act like a detective and find the clues in the glass that are going to tell you what the wine is, where it's from, how old is it, how is it made, what's the vintage, what's the quality level, what do you think it costs? All these things that I personally find really, really fun. So it's a very lively discussion, and I think you'll learn a lot, if you would like to, about how to also assess quality in wine, because I do hear a lot sometimes from people who enjoy wines that, oh, I know what I like, but I don't know if it's good. And so we'll give you some actual sort of take home advice as to how, if you really want to start assessing wine like a pro, to learn how to assess quality and what the clues are that you might look for. However, if you just want to drink this Riesling with me, please feel free. So this is from Spring Mountain AVA. This is an AVA on the western side of Napa Valley in the Mayacamas Mountains. And it's distinct for its high elevation. So most vineyards here are between 1,300 and 2,000 feet in elevation above sea level. And why that matters is these vineyards generally sit sort of above the more warm air that will settle in the valley during the growing season, which is ideal for a grape like Riesling, which really likes a bit of a cooler growing situation than some other grape varieties. On Spring Mountain, only 1% of the whole AVA is planted to Riesling. And in case I lost you, AVA means American Viticultural Area, which is an area that has been defined as having distinct regional differences and identities in the glass. So this is named for the founder, Stuart Smith, who founded this in the 1970s. I think it was 1971. So Smith, and then Madrone is the name of an evergreen tree, which is sort of the predominant tree on this property on Spring Mountain. And I might say it's quite a local's favorite as well. Mostly in Napa Valley, you'll find grapes like white grapes like Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and to a much lesser extent, something like Riesling. So it's really fun when we share these bottles together as locals. All right, if you're tasting with me, pick up your glass, let's swirl it around, kind of pale gold. All right, so on the nose, I'm getting kind of a lot of like honeysuckle, apricot, white peach. It's very floral. There are no notes of oak at all in this glass. And it's very, it's what I would expect from Riesling, which Riesling has a lot of personality on the nose. It's one of the more aromatic varieties. So usually it doesn't make me work too hard when I put my nose in the glass to right away start telling me I'm Riesling. All right, if you're tasting with me, let's let it really touch every corner of your palate. One thing I always love about Riesling, it's got a what I call racy acidity. It's almost like the acid is I'm salivating faster than I would with other wines, and it has a really sort of very directional focus too. So bright acid on the palate. It's, I would say, medium minus in body, so fairly light. Again, no evidence of oak. And if you think that Rieslings are always sweet, they're not. And this is a great example. This is a dry Riesling, meaning this has been fermented to dryness. I love this wine with seafood at the table. It's also great with cheeses, with stews, with vegetables. Just very, very versatile. And it is aromatic enough that you can pair it with more aromatic foods, things like saffron or other foods that kind of when you walk into your home and someone's cooking, you're like, oh, right away, it's enticing. So think about matching that kind of intensity on the table. But I hope you enjoyed Smith-Madrone Riesling, and listen to the podcast if you'd like to taste and assess wine like a pro.